Great. Okay. So I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania. I have hardly ventured outside of these little mountain ranges, excluding like family vacations and whatnot. Ironically, COVID gave me the chance to get out by myself and adventure. So, with all the free time on my hands, I packed a duffel bag and decided to go to Southern California for a few months, specifically Newport Beach. It's about an hour outside of LA, and it was scary. I've never been by myself before, going to a new place, knowing nothing, knowing at least one person who I thought was in LA at the time, and she ended up being there. So awesome, but I was so scared. I've never been away from my mom for that long. I know that sounds kind of silly, but that's your home. Your family is who protects you in some cases. So, anyway, the flight over was gorgeous. I mean, the mountain ranges, the deserts, it was like the mountains were going to touch me at some point, like hit the plane or whatever. But as I got closer to California, it was like all the pictures I've ever seen in a magazine about California. I mean, it was crazy. I was so excited, but so scared. Driving through LA is a different story. I mean, coming from country roads where you can go 70 on the back roads and nobody cares is way different from like 6 lane highways and people just zipping by you and you're sitting behind the wheel at like a standstill going, what is happening? I was terrified. I ended up calling my friend who was living there to come pick me up because I was too scared to drive. So I ended up getting a really cheap place right by the beach. Got really lucky that these three other ladies were in the Airbnb and they were like renting out the fourth room. They were so sweet. They're so good to me. And the balcony was like right there, and you could see the beach from there. So like that cold breeze sitting out there at like 5 was perfect. My first day there, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was so overwhelmed. So I just went and sat on the beach and just stared at everybody, not in a weird way, but I was just like, it was crazy. And the time zone was like completely different too. So I was kind of freaking out about that. So the next day, I ended up going to this little place called The Window. I was hanging out with my friend. And when I tell you it was the best burger of my whole entire life, I mean, the best burger. I wanted more. I knew I couldn't eat more, but I definitely wanted to go back and eat at least 6 or 7 of them. So after me enjoying the best burger of my life, we ventured to Venice Beach. Um, that's where I started noticing the homeless population and how bad it really was. I mean, on my way up, I was watching a woman wash her hair in a bucket, and I was like, what is happening? Because I you don't see homeless people in the middle of nowhere. I literally live in the woods. You don't see that. That's just not common. So like that was a new experience for me to see and be able to process for my own self. And going on Venice Beach, there was a ton of people. And yes, it was COVID. I was being COVID conscious in some ways. I was wearing my mask. I know it wasn't a great idea to go out there during COVID, but it was the time I had. So going out there, I was watching people rollerblade past me, scared because I didn't want them to run me over. I saw people walking around with snakes around their body. I was freaking out because of that. There was like drag queens walking by me. I was like, what is that? Because I've never seen any of that. And the final thing that I saw, which was the craziest thing, was they were having a breakdance battle and like shouting over the microphone in the speaker. And I was going, what is happening right now? So I told my friend, I was like, I'm way too overwhelmed right now. We need to go. So we ended up making our way to like the famous little gay lifeguard stand. And it was an inspiring moment for me because I mentioned I come from a very small town and you're not really allowed to be gay here. That's not a thing. There's lots of homophobia and transphobia. So like when I saw this, like I had so much compassion for myself. I felt home. I felt safe. I felt included. And looking back on like the Venice Beach experience, I was just like, that's where I belong. That's where I'm supposed to be because I fit in with all these other people who don't really care. You know, you can be whoever you want. So I'm not going to describe every single day to you, but I will explain a few more of my highlights. Haven't ridden a bike in a very long time, but they had bikes at the place. So I ended up taking a very, very long bike ride for almost, I think, 35 miles one way, 35 back. I went to Huntington Beach and ended up biking all the way out to Long Beach. It was really difficult on a one chain bike. Like there were no gears. It was a beach cruiser. So it was very difficult, but it was so worth it. I remember standing out on Long Beach Pier and just feeling the wind like go over me and hearing the waves at night. It was so calming. I went to the Wedge the following day and watched a lot of people surfing and body surfing. I wanted to try it. It was a horrible idea. I don't recommend it. I ate a lot of sand. I was very traumatized and I had to put a band-aid on my leg from a small bruise that I had that I was very concerned about. And then I was like, all right, well, that doesn't work. So maybe I'll try surfing since I'm an average skateboarder, or I used to be. I got up one time, I fell off. I didn't like it, so I stopped. But I was glad that I tried it because it was just like this new experience of all these different things. And I went shopping and I bought a pair of bright red pants that I never would have worn in my life, but I love them now. And I had the absolute best sushi of my life. So on my very last day there, I reflected on all my new experiences that I had, the new people that I met, and the whole trip was a culture shock to me. And, I was actually encouraged to dig deeper on social issues in life and get into the world of drag. And actually, it kind of sparked my realization about me being transgender and all of that other stuff. So I believe that travel is a great way to create new experiences and a gateway to learn new things you may not understand or get, but not just about the world, but also about yourself. Thank you.
Good job. And the best burger is In-N-Out Burger.
I was
I
gonna
don't like In-N-Out.
say.
It was horrible for my stomach. I'm not gonna talk about it, but it was bad.
I love In-N-Out. That was my first job. I love
In-N-Out's
In-N-Out.
Great.
it's like a
don't get me
must
wrong,
have.
it is really good, but you've never had the best burger until you go to the window. I guess it
Yeah,
opened
I've
up
never been
because
there.
of COVID.
Did you go to the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum in Venice?
No, I did not.
Oh,
I was
it's really
like
cool.
freaking out. I was having a panic attack standing on that boardwalk. I watched
Yeah.
some people rob the Oakley store and I told this police officer and he was like, okay. And I was like, what do you mean, okay? I was like, aren't you going to go talk
love
to the
Venice
police?
and Muscle Beach and all of that area. I love it.
Yes, it was very scary seeing all the muscular people too. I was like, oh, those are some really big muscles.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot
Awesome.
going on there for sure.
Mhm.
All right. I feel